All right, let's get right into it. So many of us feel like our spiritual life is just this constant defensive struggle, just trying to hang on. But what if the scriptures actually lay out a clear strategy to go on the offense, to turn that daily struggle into a daily victory? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. And it really all starts with this one powerful idea. The reason so many of us feel totally drained, anxious, or just plain defeated by lunchtime, well, it's not because of what happened that morning. The battle was actually lost the second we woke up, maybe before our feet even hit the floor.
So we have to completely reframe how we see the morning. It's not just the start of a new day. It is the primary spiritual battleground. This is that critical window where the entire tone for your day, whether it's going to be victory or defeat, gets set in stone. I mean, think about it. What's the very first thing that gets access to your mind in the morning? Is it your email inbox lighting up, the news alerts buzzing on your phone, or maybe just your own anxious thoughts about everything you have to do? See, when the world's chaos gets first dibs on your attention, it sets this negative trajectory that we then spend the rest of the day just trying to fight our way out of. So, how do we fight back? How do we take that ground? Well, we start by putting on our armor. And the sources we're looking at today point to the Psalms, but not as these passive, gentle poems for comfort. Nope, we're talking about using them as active, declarative spiritual armor that we can wear into battle every single day. The strategy really zeroes in on 3 specific psalms. You can think of them as the essential pieces of your divine armor. Psalm 23, that's your shield of protection. Psalm 91 is your fortress of refuge. And Psalm 27, that's your sword against fear. Okay, let's start with Psalm 23. Most of us, we picture this gentle shepherd in a peaceful green field, right? But in biblical times, a shepherd was a warrior, a fighter. David, the guy who wrote this psalm, literally killed a lion and a bear with his bare hands to protect his sheep. So when you declare, "The Lord is my shepherd," you're not just saying God is a gentle caretaker. You are saying God is your personal, fierce warrior bodyguard. Next up, we add Psalm 91. And this one isn't just a quiet little prayer in your head. It's a verbal command. The scripture says, "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge." Did you catch that? The action is in the saying. By speaking this out loud, you are establishing a fortress of divine protection over your home, your family, your entire day. You're actually activating your faith with your words before you even walk out the door. And finally, there's the preemptive strike against fear, Psalm 27. You know how fear is just the loudest in the morning, hitting you with all those what ifs? What if I fail? What if they reject me? Well, declaring, "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" that shuts those lies down before they can even take root. It's an offensive move. Okay, so we're armored up, we're ready for the external fight. But the battle isn't just out there, is it? Now we've got to turn inward and face one of the most challenging calls in all of Scripture, the call to surrender. And this one requires real sacrifice and a deep, deep trust in divine love. When Jesus said deny oneself, a lot of people misunderstand that. They think it means self-hatred or thinking you're worthless. But it's so much deeper. It means willingly dethroning your own ego from the driver's seat of your life. It's looking at your plans, your pride, your need to be right, your desire for control, and saying, "You know what? I surrender all of it to God's will." And listen, this is not a one-and-done kind of deal. It's a continuous 3-part process every single day. First, you deny the ego. Second, you take up your cross, which means you accept the daily cost, the daily sacrifice that comes with that surrender. And third, you follow. You actively choose to walk in His steps, on a path defined by love and forgiveness, not your own path. And this is the great paradox, isn't it? Our human instinct is to clench our fists, to hold on tight, to control our lives, to save ourselves. But true, real, abundant life, it's only found when we let go. The moment we lose that illusion of self-centered control for His sake, that's when we find a freedom and a purpose that our ego can never, ever provide. So once we're armored up on the outside and we're disciplined on the inside, there's a crucial third piece, a practical strategy. And this involves setting wise, biblical boundaries to protect the very spirit and purpose we're fighting so hard for. This whole strategy starts with a really challenging question, one that kind of cuts against a lot of modern Christian teaching. We often assume that being loving means helping every single person who asks for it. But is that what the Bible actually commands us to do? Now, here's the crucial point. Scripture actually identifies specific patterns where our helping can do more harm than good. For example, Proverbs warns that if you're constantly rescuing someone from the consequences of their own hot temper, you're just going to have to do it again and again. The Bible's pretty clear. Bailing people out of situations they create for themselves isn't always kindness. Sometimes it gets in the way of the very lessons God is trying to teach them. And this right here is the key. Setting a boundary is not an act of hate. It's an act of love and wisdom. It's about being a good steward of the time, the energy, and the resources God gave you. You simply cannot pour from an empty cup, and God never, ever called you to set yourself on fire just to keep someone else warm. Your boundaries protect your God-given purpose. All right, let's put it all together now. When you combine this external armor, this internal discipline, and this practical strategy, you start to see this powerful shift happen. You move from a life of just frantic survival to one of intentional, victorious peace. You see how these pieces all fit together? It's a whole system. The armor of the Psalms that protects your mind, the discipline of self-denial that protects your heart from its own pride, and the strategy of boundaries that protects your energy and your calling. It's a comprehensive framework for not just surviving the day, but for actually thriving in your purpose. But here's where it gets really, really exciting. The ultimate purpose of this whole spiritual path, the end goal of this warrior's journey, it goes way beyond just being protected from the stuff that comes against you. This one verse from Psalm 23, it reveals the entire game plan. Notice what it says. God doesn't say he'll remove your enemies. He says he will prepare a feast for you right there in front of them. The plan was never to take away the challenge. It was always to elevate you right in the middle of it. And that is the final piece of the puzzle. The goal isn't just survival. The goal is public victory. It's for God to bless you and promote you and favor you so openly, so publicly, that the very people who doubted you or gossiped about you or stood against you, they have no choice but to witness God's power in your life. Your haters literally become your witnesses. So this leaves us with one final, very personal question. All of this we talked about, the armor, the boundaries, the victory, it all hinges on that one act of surrender. So let's just take a moment and reflect on this. What part of your ego, what piece of your need for control or your pride, what do you need to surrender today to truly begin walking in God's peace?